When we realize that positivity is beneficial for us, but when we look within, we find negativity, despondency, desperation, unhappiness. Who then is the cause for the thoughts of unhappiness that we have within? Is it the terrible world outside? Is it your spouse? Is it your parents or children? Or is it the chief minister or the prime minister? Who is responsible for our thoughts? There was one gentleman called Viktor Frankl who wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning in Life. Viktor Frankl was a practicing psychologist in the 1930s in Austria, Vienna. However, when Hitler went on a rampage and started rounding up the Jews and throwing them into concentration camps, poor Viktor Frankl, along with his family members and the families of his brothers, found himself in the worst of the concentration camps, which was Auschwitz. He came first separated from his wife and daughters and came to know later they had been killed. He describes the horrendous conditions there. He says we had to be made to live without clothes during this Holocaust. We would be made to walk through the night, not knowing whether we'd be alive the next day or not. However, in those conditions, he realized there is one freedom he has which nobody can take away from him. The freedom to choose his thoughts. He decided, I will be happy. He would be seen smiling. He would be seen laughing. The guards would be astonished. How can you laugh? He said, it's my own choice. He became an inspiration for the other prisoners around. And later on, finally, he decided that he would live through this ordeal and announce his discovery to the world. So finally, when Germany was defeated and he was released, he went back to Austria and he wrote this book. He went around the world and spoke in 230 universities and received honorary doctorates from 23 of them. His book was translated into 15 languages. The message of it was that life sometimes becomes difficult. It is often difficult. All of you can relate to difficulty in the external environment. But when life challenges you with a lemon, the choice you have is, will you turn sour or will you make a lemonade out of it? We have all heard of the saints who lived in history and the terrible oppression that they had to face, whether it was Mirabai or Surdas or Tulsidas, but the way they responded was a responsibility they had. The responsibility is the ability to respond, the ability to choose your thoughts. Very often, people don't realize the gap. When their mood goes off or when they feel unhappy, they blame externals. It is my younger brother's behavior that's the cause of my unhappiness. I need my spouse, my friend to change his or her behavior. Until that happens, how can I be happy? Now, if the key to your happiness is outside, and the outside is not in your control, you will naturally feel desperate. But if you can understand this gap between the external and the internal, you will be a free person. No matter what, I can choose happiness. This is the message of the Bhagavad Gita. Uddharedatmanatmanam atmanam avasadhayet atmaiva hyatmano bandhur atmaiva ripuratmanaha. Lord Krishna says, Arjun, this mind can be your worst enemy, but the mind can also be your best friend. So uplift yourself by the power of your mind. Do not degrade yourself. You will only be able to uplift yourself when you take responsibility. My thoughts, whether good or bad, whether happy or unhappy, is always a choice that I am making. I have no right to blame anybody for it. Now then, the pathway to progress opens. So, this mind then is so important. And that is why the mind sets. The second mindset is the mindset of responsibility.